So in the drama, you see Minhee is living with other girls in a house, and this is a so-called 가출팸, usually many underage girls. Metaphors and symbolism. First, the hermit crab and the beetle. And then last, we have the kaleidoscope, trippy mystic view of some objects such as Lego dolls or money. On to the ending scene. What does it mean? Will there be a season 2? What is up, ducks? Quack quack. Welcome back to K-Drama Deep Dive, where we dive deeper into K-dramas. Today we'll be deep diving into the recent Netflix original hit Extracurricular. In this video, we're going to cover themes such as bullying, school police, high school life and after school hours, university costs, runaway families and illegal prostitution, gang violence, and more. Moreover, I'll go over and explain what the various metaphors and symbolism in the drama mean, such as the hermit crab, the beetle, the kaleidoscopic view, and the dreams. Understanding these lead to understanding the mysterious conclusion as well. And last, I'll end the video with how Korea reacted to this drama with my personal take and review about Extracurricular. First, as an appetizer, the Korean title of this drama is 인간 수업, which means human class. The reason the title is like this is probably because the main characters are all high school students and the drama sets place in school a lot. But these characters have very different lives after school and constantly hide their identities. Plus, considering the difficulties and hardships they experience with the cruel world is like a harsh reality life lesson for them, which makes both titles very accurate. Now on to the first topic, bullying and school police. Honestly, bullying is a universal problem, but I can't say that the situation in Korea is any better than any other country. To begin with, Koreans call bullies as 일진, while the literal translation of this word would be closest to first class, first group, or camp. The actual origin is unknown. The most plausible theory is that it came from a Japanese anime that had a school violence circle within the anime with the name 일진회 or 일진 circle. Anyways, these 일jins are obviously students who were usually handsome, pretty good at fighting and sports, and sometimes they just naturally form by natural selection, or sometimes there's a highly organized system within and between schools, and you need to get approval or an invitation to join the 일진 circle. In 1997, there was an incident when a member of the 일진 circle bullied a high schooler to death, and the bully stated that he imitated the Japanese anime. This made the term 일진 infamous through media. In addition, when there's the word 일진, there's also the variation called 담당 일진, or the counterpart word like shuttle. Shuttle comes from the word shuttle, meaning you're a means of delivery.
Bang.
Yes.
The most common variation would be 빵 shuttle, bread shuttle, or Wi-Fi shuttle. That delivers bread or snacks to the 일진 with their own money or provides free Wi-Fi using their own mobile phone data. This kind of environment and many other incidents became the catalyst to adopting the school police policy you see in Extracurricular. It's usually a team of one retired teacher and a police officer patrolling around school grounds to prevent bullying or other behavior like smoking. They also consult students and participate in school violence committees as well. While the school police might be better than nothing, there are many studies and articles that debate about the actual effectiveness of the policy, pointing out that it might be just a superficial role and does not fundamentally eradicate bullying. Some articles even reveal that many school police only pick up trash or do traffic guidance. Nevertheless, various surveys prove that near 60 to 70% of teachers, parents, and citizens agreed to the policy, saying that they feel more relieved and believe in its effectiveness. Although school violence and bullying is prevalent and hard to eradicate, the Korean public's attitude toward it is very serious. Recently, there's been a sequential outing of past bullies who became celebrities via internet communities, and there has been serious backlash and criticism, eventually tainting, canceling the celebrity's whole career. So topic number 2, how accurate is high school life depicted in Extracurricular? What do students do after school? Well, first of all, I would say the drama is very accurate, minus the extracurricular activities, such as the shady stuff. Well, to begin with, a normal Korean high school student's day would look something like this. They go to school until 8 a.m., dismissed at 5 p.m., either stays at school until 10 p.m. or plus, for self-study, or goes to private academies and studies until midnight or so. Okay, so let alone the bullying aspect, but also the fierce competition and pressure you see through Jisoo's perspective in Extracurricular is very accurate. As soon as Jisoo isn't able to afford private classes, his grades plummet. While I think in the drama the downfall might have been too dramatic regarding that Jisoo was an 8th grade student, I do agree that if you don't receive private classes and don't go to multiple academies called hagwons, it definitely will give you a disadvantage in school. school. The private education sector is just too big and crazy. According to statistics, in 2020, the average private education cost was $300 per student, Seoul being $400, and the total market cost was 10 trillion won. Approximately $8.2 billion. Mind that this is just an average, and in my case, I went to academies for math, English, TOEFL, science, logical writing, Korean, and more. And I think I spent over a good $1,000 to $2,000 per month. In Seoul, students pay that amount for a single subject. And students usually finish the whole course for the semester during vacation and don't pay attention during actual school classes. Thus, Jisoo not being able to catch up and falling behind is not that much of an exaggeration. Also, I thought the dynamics within school were pretty accurate too. The relationship between teacher and student was pretty similar. Ever since corporal punishment got abolished a few years ago, teachers have been having a hard time since students exploit the fact that teachers can't do anything. So if you look at Cutie or Minhee's behavior, sometimes they speak very rude to the teacher as if they're their friends. When there's a certain honorifics and proper respectful manner you should keep while speaking to an elder in Korea. Also, being super rich and Kitae being an Iljin not being able to touch Cutie is also very real. Usually kids from rich families fund the school or are simply just well treated by teachers, and they have many strong connections too with seniors to protect them, such as Cutie's athletic friends. And this is all because everyone knows that these students' parents have a lot of power in the real society. Plus, Minnie, who is a pretty popular girl, and Kitae dating for benefits is also very common within the student dynamics. They both boost each other's ego status and help consolidate their authority within the school society. Oh, but one thing though, I can assure you that the normal Korean high schooler will not be like Oh Jisoo. Extracurricular is an extreme example, just like the drama Sky Castle. Both dramas reflect reality in an accurate way, but it is nothing very common. On to topic number 3, university costs. So the enormously competitive education field is all a build-up for university entrance. For the Korean SAT exam called Suneung, high school students prepare a whole year, or actually a whole 3 years, or maybe let's just say their entire period of schooling for the exam to enter university. So how much is university or college? According to the Ministry of Education, annually it costs an average of $5,500 for a whole year. Of course, it varies by school and major. For example, for a school in Seoul in medical or arts major, it would cost nearly $15,000 a year. Engineering, maybe $10,000. Liberal arts and social studies, $6,000. And then there's these most expensive schools. Number 1, Yonsei. That's why you need to watch ads on this video. And number 2, Shinhan University. Number 3, Korea. 4th, Ewha. 5, Seogang. 6, Hanyang. So basically excluding Shinhan University, which I've never heard of, the top Sky universities and Seoul located universities are the most expensive, obviously. And by the way, Seoul University, which is the S for Sky, is national run, so it's cheap. And for scholarships, I would say that there aren't so many scholarships you can get within the school, other than for excellence in grades or doing school labor. But the government does provide a certain amount of funds to those who are not in great financial situations. And all of this is probably why Jisoo was trying to accumulate so much money. Hypothetically, for him to go to say Yonsei University as an engineering or science major, he'd have to save up at least near $50,000 or $60,000 for tuition and living costs. In the drama, Jisoo actually calculates that the minimum cost would be $80,000 in order to live a normal life and cover all his costs during college until job applying. Well, you might compare it to America and say that it's not that much, but the minimum wage in Korea is $7, so you do the math. And maybe this is partially why it's easy for students in poverty to get attracted by illegal methods of earning money, such as prostitution. Speaking of prostitution, let's go directly into topic number 4. Runaway families and illegal prostitution. So in the drama, you see Minhee is living with other girls in her house, and this is a so-called 가출팸, which translates into runaway family. Usually many underage girls escape from their houses or family because of various reasons, such as domestic violence, poverty, or simply teenage spirit. But since they don't have a place to stay nor any income, they join the so-called runaway families, 가출팸, and these families can be easily found through internet communities or smartphone chatting apps. These families are organized organized by adolescents themselves, or sometimes it's tied to gangs. But anyways, girls start to live together like that, and in some cases start selling sex. Now, some cases of selling sex might be voluntary, but some cases are not. When the pimp or the dudes in charge of the family threaten the girl, they have no choice. But the basic mechanism is known to be very similar to what you see in Extracurricular. Girls use these unpopular shady chatting apps and post their profile with the word 조건 만남, and 조건 means conditions or terms, and 만남 means meeting. But in this context, simply it would mean a contract relationship in trade of sexual behavior. And a lot of men see these posts and contact the girls via the apps, and some knowing that they're underage. Oh, and by the way, prostitution in general is illegal in Korea. As the majority of Korean people think prostitution is disgusting, our society can't deny that there are many consumers, and it's very widespread and a successful business. Despite being illegal, there's a whole industry, which shows that basically where there's demand, there's supply, and vice versa. It's actually not that hard to find sexual services because you can actually spot them in broad daylight in business or finance districts, and there's a very low chance of getting caught by the police. Allegedly, the whole sex industry is known to be bribing and have ties with the police, and even if you get caught, according to the internet, it's known that you'll most likely get fined or some education, and that's it. So going back to 가출팸, the runaway families, because it's an illegal and dangerous line of work, the guys in the runaway family usually serve as pimps or emergency control, like guards. And if someone were to attempt to harm a girl in the family, the guys would track the place through the app and bust into the room and use violence or blackmail the customer that he'd be reported for buying underage sex. And it's well known that in some cases the dudes will appear right in front of the customer that wanted to buy underage sex, and these dudes will simply threaten him and steal his money. And sadly, with this profit, the runaway family is maintained. Topic number 5, gangs and violence. The Korean version of mafia yakuza is called 깡패, or in a more official manner called 조폭, the abbreviation of 조직폭력배, which means organized violence gangster. It's not exactly known how big these organizations are, but according to many interviews and articles, they do exist. And these gangsters have their own jurisdictions and profit out of the businesses that are run there, or by making their own businesses sometimes. Their favorite categories of business would be nightlife, clubs, tourism, and real estate. One of the typical stereotypes for these gangsters is that they have a massive dragon tattoo on their back with a golden necklace as a cherry on top. Because the tattoos became a signature of these gangsters, tattoos gained a very negative and scary image in Korea. So when you're in a public bath and see someone with a dragon tattoo, you better move your ass to the next hot tub. Anyways, these gangsters usually go around harassing weak people and collecting money from them, and they are also rumored to have fights between the clans as well. Plus, within the culture, you always have to call the boss 형님, which is like older brother. But I'm pretty sure that these gangs don't fight against a bunch of high school 일진s like in the drama. On to metaphors and symbolism. First, the hermit crab and the beetle. The hermit crab appears various times throughout the drama. It's pretty obvious that the hermit crab represents Jisoo himself, how Jisoo is hiding under a shell, living a totally different life than others, and also hermit crabs are known to hide inside the shell when they're attacked. This is exactly like Jisoo's personality, as he feels anxiety and hopelessness when things get bad. Unfortunately, the first crab gets stepped on by his father and dies during the drama. This means Jisoo has nearly lost everything: money, a normal life, his family, human dignity, and etc. And then Cutie gets him a new hermit crab. He's been given a second chance, and now he has an ally or friend, Cutie. Now let's talk about the beetle, the teacher, and the dreams all at once, because they are actually all tied to each other. In my opinion, there are two possibilities of what the beetle means. First, it could represent the teacher, since it's his pet, just like the hermit crab is Jisoo's pet. In this scene, Jisoo is avoiding the teacher's question and will to help, hiding and shoving off the teacher away from his heart. Or there could be another alternative theory for the beetle. The teacher asks, "What do you want to do when you go to college?" Jisoo answers that he wants to make a family again. Then the teacher asks if he's going to marry Cutie or Minhee. By this dialogue, we could say that the beetle is Minhee and the hermit crab is Cutie, because Minhee appears with the beetle several times in the drama, while the hermit crab is a present to Jisoo from Cutie. Watching the beetle fall out of the plate might be a foreshadowing of Minhee ending in a tragic situation, but Cutie surviving. And then we see the answer sheet on the plate. The teacher says time is up, and Jisoo hands over his blank answer sheet. This means that Jisoo doesn't know the answer and hasn't done anything so far. The report card he receives has a picture of Cutie kidnapped, which is the result and the situation he's in currently, whether if it's his fault or not. As the teacher says, literally, time is up. Only then Jisoo realizes that he needs to write an answer, whether if he knows it's right or wrong, rather than doing nothing. Also in another dream, Jisoo is burying Minhee. This is right after Minhee got socially buried by getting revealed of doing prostitution. Jisoo protects her from the bullying, but Minhee says that it doesn't help because Jisoo manipulated her of not confessing to the police, which led to the death of Wangcheol. Minhee doesn't even know at this point that Jisoo telling her not to confess was not trying to protect her, but trying to protect himself because he was the mastermind. So it's ironic, hypocritical, and selfish of Jisoo once again trying to protect her, which is expressed in the dream as him preparing a proper burial for Minhee. The burial or grave has no meaning because it's already too late. Minhee is dead in the dream and socially buried in reality. While Jisoo digs the grave, the teacher appears again in the dream, saying sarcastically that Jisoo has a kind heart. Then the teacher questions him whether if he thinks he can go to college. Jisoo questions back to the teacher if the situation's that bad. And then the teacher lists all the casualties, the PTSD, and broken relationships that were caused because of Jisoo. But nevertheless, Jisoo is still only obsessed with his grades to go to college. Then the teacher throws a strong punchline saying that the person has changed, meaning that Jisoo has become a totally different person and that he's been actually burying himself, not Minhee, the whole time. These dreams where the teacher appears and throws Jisoo questions about his life constantly is basically what the title Human Class stands for. Ironically, Jisoo's responses to the teacher's questions are always about grades, which have a double meaning. One, it shows how obsessed Jisoo is in reality with the goal of going to Sky universities by all means, destroying himself as a human being along with other people on the way. And two, his subconsciousness and conscious reflecting on himself, wondering what grade he would get for being a human being, constantly worried if it's that bad, even if he knows the answer. Therefore, the dreams represent the title of Human Class literally, which make the dreams extremely crucial in understanding extracurricular. The teacher here, I would say, has a pretty literal function. He is the only person that truly tries to understand Jisoo or provide help in a spiritual level. And time to time, Jisoo also feels an urge to rely on him, but at the end he doesn't. This could signify that there's always someone you can seek help from in any kind of self-destructive situation. Also, the teacher could be seen as the voice of reason or self-consciousness while Jisoo is committing crimes. And then last, we have the kaleidoscope. The kaleidoscope shows a shiny, trippy, mystic view of some objects such as Lego dolls or money. This view represents how flashy and juicy the results of crime look like from Jisoo's point of view, but also it symbolizes how some viewers of the drama might be watching the drama right now. It might seem shiny and trippy for a moment, but we all know that the real consequences are yet to come. I'd like to compare it to a very strong drug that makes you feel like you're flying and invincible temporarily, but at the end destroys you. And now on to the ending scene. What does it mean? Will there be a season 2? Well, to that I would say maybe, or close to a yes. Major spoiler alert here, but the ending, trying to summarize it up, is basically Jisoo fleeing after mistakenly killing Minhee. Hee-tae finds him at his house with Minhee's phone and attacks Jisoo. Jisoo gets extremely hurt, but then Cutie comes in and knocks down Hee-tae, and after that the two try to escape the scene, but Jisoo drops to the floor because he's severely injured and bleeding. And then they both tragically look up, and then we see the police officer has arrived. However, when we look at the scene again from the police's point of view, they're not there. They've disappeared. Well, what I got from this is I personally think they have escaped from the police and that they're living somewhere in Seoul, which could lead to a potential season 2 regarding the popularity of this drama and all. The reasoning behind my theory is because how the drama ends. At the end, it shows the Han River and the frame starts to close in, and also there's a whole police investigation going on to find them. And most importantly, the ending shows the hermit crab hiding in its shell in a fish tank while someone gives it water. What's interesting is this is actually the same with Jisoo giving water to the hermit crab in episode 1. About the frame of the video shrinking with the Seoul background could mean many things, and I think literally it could mean that the two are hiding somewhere in Seoul, and that the police are trying to corner them down, but also trying to expand the meaning. It could mean that the modern Korean society is suffocating these teenagers into a box and leading them to making wrong decisions. At the end, the anonymous person giving water to the crab would probably be Kyuri, taking care of Jisoo while he recovers in the meantime. But also, in a bigger perspective, it could be perceived as a message that society should give the proper environment to kids to grow properly regarding the pressure from education, poverty, parental issues, and more. So as fantastic as the drama itself was, how did Korea react to it? Well, Extracurricular was definitely something new, shocking, and provocative. Extracurricular was born and produced solely because it was a Netflix original series and was distributed on its own platform. At first, it received a lot of backlash due to the social context and timing when Korea was heated up because of the nth room case and all. However, due to all of these factors, this drama became a major hit, and it also sparked up a lot of talk and articles about criminal behavior introduced in the drama, so I guess it served as a good shock therapy for the Korean society. Now, to share my personal take on this drama, I would say that this drama was edgy and shocking. The themes and subjects such as underage prostitution or gang violence were never seen that blatantly in any other Korean dramas, since they're very sensitive and usually taboo subjects to talk about within the Korean society. But I really appreciated the drama because some dramas just use these criminal themes just for the sake of the drama and entertainment itself. But I feel like in Extracurricular, these themes were covered in a very reflective way and on how the character experiences identity crises or catastrophes as a student. In other words, it was very psychologically well connected to the character's emotions and development. And each character had their own story and reasons that all intertwined at some point, making a whole tragedy. And most importantly, I like to emphasize that in this drama, you've probably noticed that there's no absolute good character. No character is actually likable or supportable. Every character makes the viewer stressed and frown. Jisoo's basically a pimp. Cutie wants to basically kill her parents, and she's probably a sociopath that doesn't care about anyone else than her and manipulates others and gradually becomes a pimp as well. For Minhee, she provides illegal sex service in order to earn money for herself and her boyfriend. Hitae is a bully who uses violence, and I know all of them have their own sad situations, but at the end their behavior cannot be justified. And that's why I think the slogan of this drama is 틀린 답에 목숨을 걸었다, which means they have bet their lives on the wrong answer. Although the society or the environment might have pushed them to that state, it's entirely not the society's fault in my opinion, because the ultimate choice was made by them. There are tons of people in similar situations out there who choose to follow society's rules and morals, and it's not because they're dumb or a coward. So this drama, seen in a very pessimistic light, could be glorifying and justifying criminal behavior with the reason of hardships in life and being immature as a teenager. And this criticism was initially pointed out by a lot of Koreans actually when the drama first started. However, on the flip side, I think this drama is shockingly fresh that all characters can technically be sorted as villains of society, but in a personal level they have their own struggles, and sometimes despite not being able to relate a bit, you get to a point when sometimes you even not sympathize, but just question yourself. What would I do in that situation? And this drama makes you constantly reflect and question yourself with your pre-existing morals. In my opinion, that complicated emotion this drama provokes is the core attractiveness of this drama. This kind of feeling cannot be seen in any other drama, and that's why it stands out. And also, Extracurricular is one of the first dramas that exposed the unspoken truth of reality of the Korean society and depicts the hardships of a high school student in multiple angles. Everything about this drama is so three-dimensional, from the character to how it depicts society. Good and evil always coexist in the most common forms in this drama. So all in all, I think this was an amazing drama. It was kind of frustrating watching it because all the characters were very stressful to watch and you couldn't relate with their crimes. As a normal person, I think it would be very hard to understand their motives on why they're doing these criminal behaviors. But sometimes I just wanted to punch Cutie if I was like Jisoo. In conclusion, I would say that Extracurricular is a frustrating but also very important drama to the society. So I recommend everyone watching it. And there are multiple layers in the drama and a lot of symbolism and metaphors. So that adds to the aesthetics and the value of the drama as well. So I hope this video was helpful for you to understand the Korean context and social context behind this drama. And if you have any more questions, or if you want to share your theories or comments comments, please put them down in the comment section. And also, if you like this video, I recommend going back to our Itaewon class deep dive video and watching that as well. And please check out our Patreon, consider supporting us. I spent a lot of time and did research for this video, so any kind of support would help. Don't forget to subscribe. Last but not least, don't bet your lives on the wrong answer.